And Beckham saw Sullivan off his line. Oh!
This is a private member's bar.
That is absolutely phenomenal.
Exclusively for the supporters of the greatest football team in the world.
Cleared, Giggs with a shot. Sheringham!
Manchester United.
Beckham into Sheringham. And Solskjaer has won it!
How will Zirkzee fit into the team? D has a prediction on United's next captain. And a new Dutchman is at United. Welcome to the Biggie and Smalls podcast. I'm Keith Ippolito, and D is my partner in crime. D, how you doing, man?
No, not too bad. Keith, how about yourself?
Doing good. I know we've had a little bit of a hiatus here. God, what has it been, a month since we've done a pod? I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah,
you can blame me. I've been traveling internationally, so that's why you can blame me.
Yeah, traveling. It's the summer months. It's teams off. I mean, obviously, there's been the Euros and Copa and stuff, but once we get in the season, we'll be more regular. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, definitely.
What else is going on, D? I know you're back in the motherland. How was the trip over there?
That was great. Went back to, like you said, back to Derry, first time in 8 years. And speaking of that, definitely want to give a little shout out to my nephew, Shay, and his whole team. The 2016 or the under-8 Don Bosco's team, they actually played in the big tournament in Derry, the Foyle Cup, and they actually did really, really well. They came third, and it's their first time actually playing up to their actual age group. They played last year. They're 6 years old, 7 years old, and they're playing against 8-year-olds then. So this year they actually went back in there and they done themselves proud and got third. So I want to give a wee shout out to the Don Bosco's team, the wee under-8 team.
Yeah, there you go.
Honestly, the whole every team that's in that tournament, like that tournament's been brilliant the last few years. Like I played in it back in 2001, and it's still going right now in 2024. So Derry, it allows some of the kids in Derry that don't get the opportunity to get exploited, not exploited, but they get the kind of
exposure,
exploitation, if you will, exposure, that they get for the football. So like there's a massive tournament. A lot of professional teams send their teams over. And
I was imagining there'd probably be a lot of scouts over there from different teams throughout Europe, or probably mostly Premiership, and I would imagine No,
there definitely is. So they have the two big tournaments is the Foyle Cup, and then they also have the Milk Cup. Both are in both up there in the north of Ireland. So they have a lot of scouts come over. But it's great to be able to have kids from Derry that really don't get the opportunity to go over to the big tournaments in England and Europe and so forth because of how expensive it is. Mm-hmm. That one of the big tournaments in Europe is actually happening in Derry, and the likes of my nephew and his teammates, and a lot of kids that deserve to get that kind of exposure, that really love the game. So it's been brilliant to hear about it. It finishes up tomorrow, but Shay's team, as I said, they won the third place match earlier, and they drew 5-5. In the third place match, went to penalties, and they won a penalty. So well done to the 2016 Don Bosco's team.
There you go. Congrats, Shay. Good job. All right. Well, let's get into it. Like I said, we haven't done one in about a month or so. It's been a lot of stuff happening, signings, departures. All kinds of different stuff going on. Let's start with some of the signings and what's going on with the team. Obviously, headlines this week, we got Zirkzee, who is the new forward for us. The more I've looked into it, I'm kind of excited about it. I'll be 100% honest. I don't watch regular Serie A games regularly. I know my last name ends in a vowel. Maybe I should. I guess guilty as charged there. But yeah, more I look about this guy, I think he might be a good fit. I was watching Statman Dave break him down a little bit earlier. He definitely seems like the type of player that likes to feed the ball. He is a very capable goal scorer, but he seems like he thrives more on feeding and distributing the ball and setting people up or whatever, which I think would be a good fit, especially with Højlund and the rest of the team. What say you, D?
No, I think he will come good. Even though he left Bayern, he was at Bayern Munich before he went to Bologna and Serie A. Obviously left Bayern for first team football. I don't think he could have got the likes of
break
Lewandowski
into that team. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it was at the time he was going to be able to break through. But I'm the same. I haven't seen as much as I'd like about him, but what I have, I've read about it is like you said, he's a typical Dutch player, Dutch forward, very similar to like a lot of people. So, well, Liverpool fans aren't going to like to hear this, but some people are comparing him to like a bigger, better, version of Cody Gakpo. He likes to be able to. He can play out wide. He's comfortable with all his feet. And he's a big fella too, 6'3".
Yeah,
He's not exactly small.
That is very tall. Yeah.
So for a player this day and age, like you rarely do you see a big, strong, quick player 6'3", and when you do, it's we hear the name like Haaland, Drogba, Lewandowski, those kind of players getting thrown around there because they're big, strong lads. So obviously Ten Hag earmarked him at the very beginning of the summer. A lot of people didn't think it was going to happen. I know he didn't get to play much for the Dutch team. Some fans are going to say that should be a worrying sign, but I don't think it is because a lot of teams, managers have players that just don't fit into their way of their philosophy.
Fit into their tactics,
Yeah, like Coleman might not have liked Zirkzee. He preferred Depay. He preferred Cody Gakpo. He preferred all the players around him. That doesn't mean he's a bad player.
No, I mean it's kind of. I guess you can even say Garnacho, he's young. I mean, he's the future of that Argentina team, but he's a young kid, so it's probably the same thing with him.
Exactly. Yeah, and you see all the time there's players that don't get to really play for the national team.
Yeah.
And they're like case in point, Cole Palmer, great player for Chelsea.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, not that we care much about the Three Lions, but Jesus Christ, Gareth, why aren't you playing him more? He saved your ass a few times.
He's a perfect. So Cole Palmer's a perfect example. People can say, "Oh, well, Zirkzee didn't play for Holland." Well, Cole Palmer didn't exactly play that much for England, and when he did, he actually played well. So
yeah.
So we'll see. Ten Hag I think he has an idea for him. But I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do. I know they play Rangers tomorrow, so I'm not sure if it might be too quick for him to play. I don't know how much training he's actually got done. I don't know. Considering United's history of injuries, I don't think you want to rush somebody into playing a match that soon.
Well, honestly, I'd be kind of surprised if we even saw him in like the Community Shield. I mean, he just went through the Euros. I mean, obviously, I know he didn't play a ton there, but I mean, the guy was still training every day. So I mean, personally, I mean, I don't really think he needs to be out here. When the team comes back to Carrington, he can pick it up there and and let him ease it in.
No, exactly. So we'll see. I think they're going to play Rangers tomorrow, and then they play Arsenal next weekend, and then the weekend after that, the Arsenal match is the first one. It's in SoFi, so that one's in America. And then the week after, they play Liverpool up in South Carolina, up in the University of South Carolina Stadium. So we might see him then. Maybe we might see at the Liverpool match because then that's, believe it or not, then the week after that's the Community Shield. So
yeah,
the season's coming. It's coming up quick, so
yeah,
it's the same.
Only a month away if you really think about it.
Like at this point, and I'll say it right now, some fans disagree, some fans might agree, but in my opinion, pre-season is all about making sure the team understands their responsibilities in terms of the tactics and philosophy the manager's going to do, getting them in shape, getting them match fitness for the start of the season, and also get through preseason with no injuries. That's the three.
Yeah, I think some people tend to overreact with preseason. Just get through unscathed without any injuries, and get in training if you've been partying or whatever you got going on. I guess to break a little American football term, they have, the OTAs coming up over here. Until the pads are on and they start hitting, I don't really give a shit. I'm just going to be honest,
Yeah, no, exactly. So, as long as they just keep training well, I would love United to actually start the season on a high. But historically speaking, United's never been one to do that. So
yeah, they tend to start slow.
Yeah. But the good thing is that there is a lot of players that seem to be back. I've seen Harry Maguire is back training. I know Varane's gone, so at least you have Maguire there. Martinez was playing for Argentina. got through the Copas with no injuries, no aggravation at injury. Garnacho, although he didn't play much, he's still fit. So there's gonna be a lot of players coming back as well. So it'd be interesting to see how the dynamic of the players that are pre-existing players and then the new players are coming on.
Yeah, no, it'll definitely be interesting. I'm excited to see how the team. Another signing we just had in the last day or so, Lenny Yoro. Again, I don't really watch French League One football that often, but the more I read about this guy, I'm excited about him. I kind of like. I've read a comparison that he is big and can control the ball well, and he's also really well I guess I'm trying to think losing my train of thought there, winning the balls or whatever, handle the ball well. And I heard a comparison that he is I guess like Rio Ferdinand, and even though I know he's wearing Vidic's number or whatever, but that was the comparison is what I read.
Yeah, no, and I've heard something similar. So, our buddy Sam Luckhurst did an article earlier and saying that maybe United learned their lesson in terms of setting up a scout network in France. And the reason he said that was back when United were going through their probably most successful period of like 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, when they went to 3 Champions League finals in 4 years. Ferguson was trying to go after two players from Lyon was Karim Benzema. He wanted to go after. United actually knocked them out in the 2008. Then beat them 2-1 in aggregate.
Yeah.
Ronaldo scored the winner in the second leg at Old Trafford. And another player who actually ended up playing for United, but just recently left, was Raphael Varane.
Yeah.
They were both young players, teens, I think, like Benzema and Varane were both 18, 19. I don't even think they're in the 20s yet. So what I've been hearing is United sort of tried to learn their lesson from not going after a young French player. Like they tried to go after Varane, and what I was told was that they turned down Varane and went after Phil Jones. That's supposedly that's the word in the street on that. So maybe, I'm hearing a lot of comparisons with Euro with Varane, like a young Varane. He's got great composure on the ball. Very studious
he
of the
can
game.
Distribute the ball well, is what I'm reading, and especially in the price that we paid for him, it seems like we got a pretty good deal on him.
No, we did. You hear all these different stories. You hear like Real Madrid, came in and offered like 30 million.
Well, yeah, because he said he wanted to go to Real Madrid.
I know, who wouldn't. Here's the thing, right? And some United fans might get annoyed, but at the end of the day, United aren't Real Madrid. Like Real Madrid right now, in my personal opinion, are the best team in the world. Like they won the Champions League. They won the La Liga.
They've won it 16 times, 16, right? Is that what it was? 15, 16 times. I mean, when you win when you win the Euro, when you win the Champions League that many times, you're the best team.
Exactly. Well, not just that. The last time United were even in the Champions League final was 2011. Last time they won it was 2008. So when a team like Real Madrid comes on there, and remind you too, Euro only had one year left in his contract. Like he could have left for free next season. So Real Madrid knew that. So that's why Real Madrid were like, listen, Real Madrid
they were bargain hunting. They're like, we like you and we think you're it, but we're not going to overpay for you.
Well, he was going to be he was honestly the replacement for Nacho Fernandez, who just left to go out to Saudi Arabia. So is he going to be a complete immediate starter there? We don't
Probably
know.
not.
Would he partner with Rudiger there? We don't know. But Real Madrid knew they had complete and utter control in the negotiations in that aspect. They knew the player wanted to come. They knew he had 1 year left in his contract, so they obviously put a price that they thought Nice were going to have to sit and balk at. And they did. So then United don't have Champions League football this year. They're, again, as every single United fan needs to understand, they're going through another rebuild. We're definitely not. They haven't challenged for the league, and like the only time they came second was under Solskjaer. The second best finish was third under. Second was Mourinho. Second was Solskjaer, and third with Erik ten Hag. So with that said, United are going to have to, unfortunately, at this point, we're not the United of old. We're not the United of Ferguson, where
you gotta pay these players. You gotta entice them with big salaries.
Yeah. But the good thing, I get it. He's 18. I think he's getting £150,000 a week. Here's the thing, though. I get they're gonna say that's gonna be no, that's a lot for an 18-year-old. But at the same time, we don't know how that's broken up in terms of what. No, there could be 150,000. We could be down to making. No, he could say he has to play an X amount of minutes each match.
Yeah, exactly. There might be different metrics that he has to meet in order to get that 150. Which I mean I don't again, I haven't seen the details of the contract, but there might be.
Yeah. So. Yeah, United, unfortunately, we do have to overpay. But the one thing I will say is I don't think they overpaid. Like you're right to say, I don't think they overpaid the likes that they've done in the past. Like the one price tag that stands out in my mind is good old Anthony, £84 million. £84 million for a fella that is literally like the poor man's Robin, if you will. He tries to be like Iron Robin. He tries to come on that left up, but he's just everyone that Granny knows what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So. But no, I'm excited to see him. Now, will Maguire start with Martinez? I do think that's going to be the case. I think they're going to eventually break Yoro into the team. I think with being 18, and he seems very mature. I've watched his interviews.
Yeah.
The way
he handles himself.
Exactly. He seems to have a really good control of what he says and how he acts and so forth. But again, he's only 18.
Yeah.
I remember. So. There's going to be a lot of expectations on him. We've seen players, a lot older than him, a lot more experience, completely fall to the wayside of the pressure being at Manchester United. So I don't want him to be another Memphis Depay that came out with high expectations, supposed to be a top player, a top young player in Europe, and then all of a sudden have to leave a year or two later. So I'm hoping they break him in. The one thing I have to say that it's a good sign. It's finally I'm seeing United bringing in depth.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to see that too. That's the strategy, especially because I mean, we'll get into this later. We do need some midfield players, but they're talking about still bringing in Dalot too. So I mean, as we know, last year, I mean, we had freaking Casemiro's playing center back last year. You can never have enough of them.
Exactly. So with Varane gone, and then there's no guarantees that players aren't going to pick up injuries again, like you rightly said. They had an emergency centre back in Casemiro, and it was a disaster. We have a 37-year-old Johnny Evans still at the club. He signed a 1-year contract. So
yeah, which I know Euros feel the same. I'm okay with that. I think he's a good person to have around the team.
I think he's a great person to have around. He's United through and through. Like, did he leave and go to West Brom, Leicester? And yeah, he did. But at the same time, like he came through the academy. He'd be a very good kind of player to have on take Euro under his wing and teach him the ropes of like what the Premiership's like. He's been John Evans has played in the Premiership since he was 6.
Yeah, he's 17, been around 18. Forever.
Yeah, so he's got a 1 year. So right now they're a little thin in the back there, especially in the centre back position. So bringing in a young centre back, bringing in Matthias Dalot, he's technically still young. I feel like he's been around forever, but he's 24.
Yeah, I know. It's like he's still a kid, but he's like he feels like he's playing for like you said, forever.
It's because he was so young. He was 18, 19 when he was captain in Ajax when he went that Champions League run and unfortunately beat by Spurs, and then he went to Juventus. Didn't really work out for him in Juventus. Went to Bayern, and we all know injuries have sort of hampered him. But again, I'm hoping that if United do sign him, it'd be great. It's just another squad depth. Somebody else as well to try to play. Like, one of the things that I think it's going to be huge to have is, and it always reminds me of the teams of old at United. There's all these signings coming in, is that United always had a second layer of players. And what I mean by that, if you look back in the 99 team, the 2008 team, there was, like, for example, Ferguson always had 4 centre backs he could choose from. He always had 4 or 5 midfielders. He always had 2 or 3 forwards, sometimes even 4. Like that Champions League, that 2008 Champions League team had Berbatov, Tevez, Ronaldo, and Rooney. As forwards. And they had like Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, Michael Carrick, Darren Fletcher.
I mean, you put any single one of them in those and they're starters on every single team or any team. So,
Yeah, and like if you look at the likes like Man City have got Haaland, they got Alvarez, they have Foden. They have a lot of depth, and like Real Madrid too is another example. Real Madrid, like that whole Madrid.
They just have stars at every single position.
Yeah, and they keep constantly they're getting players in, and every time you think that there's a change of guard, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
Real Madrid, they just have an unbelievable knack
Yep.
of having
The next wave comes in.
Yeah, it's literally like a rotating door of just talent that comes in and out
Well,
of that club.
I mean, obviously, I mean, you know, they're the Galacticos. You know, they're the kings of Europe. I mean, so you know, their reputation. I mean, when they want to go sign someone, they don't. It's not like they have to sell you. Say they're we're Real Madrid. You know.
Well, like so. And speaking of that, and I know we talked about this offline too. Ratcliffe did his interview there last month, and
Yeah.
and he said that Man United at this point, they might be marketable just as marketable as Real Madrid, but they're not as successful on the pitch as Real Madrid. And he goes, that's the part that United need to catch up with. Like right now, you could go around the world and you say Real Madrid, Manchester United, everyone knows who they are. But if you then were to sit there and talk to actual football fans that don't want to talk about like successful teams, you talk about Real Madrid and Man United the same sentence, they're going to laugh at you because it's completely night and day.
Yeah.
And Ratcliffe said that, and it wasn't I didn't take offense to it.
I honestly, if you're impartial and like you said, if you're a real football fan, you know that he's 100% right. And to be honest, I love it because that mean he knows that we have all the resources to do what Real Madrid does. We just have to put the things in the plan in motion. You know.
No, exactly. That's exactly what I think that's what he was trying to explain. That they have their Ineos group now trying to put the infrastructure in place. They're trying to make sure they put all the right pieces to make sure everything works the way it should. The way one big, huge, well-oiled machine, which is what Real Madrid does right now. Because you have to Real Madrid also not only are they spending money. Like they aren't doing the Galacticos of signing like Ronaldo, Kaká.
Yeah.
They're buying like really well groomed players that are coming in. Like you think about it, they got Courtois, they have Rudiger, Butters and stuff. But they also they built a whole new stadium, and it's a state of the art stadium. And like if you look at what happened to Arsenal when Arsenal were blaming, we built the Emirates, that's why we can't sign players. Remember they went through that awful period where like everyone was saying Van Gaal, and it took them 10, 15 years to finally say, okay, now we're actually competing again. But it's because the stadium's not hampering us. Real Madrid went through a whole new rebuild of a stadium and was still winning the Champions League and La Liga. So I think that's when it comes to what Ratcliffe was mentioning, what we're talking about here is that United are making the right decisions here. They're bringing in young players. Like right now, they've got. I think I seen a thing the other day. They could have a starting lineup without, if they really wanted, if you took Bruno out of it, which I wouldn't take Bruno out of the starting lineup. If you took Bruno out of the starting lineup, they could have every player on the pitch would be 26 years old or younger.
Yeah. No, I saw that earlier. It's a very young team, which is.
I think Onana too. If you took Onana out as well, I think Onana's like 27.
Yeah. I mean, 27. You know, it's not. I wouldn't really consider that. I would say you're in the prime of your career. You know.
Exactly. Well, for goalkeepers, I've always been a big believer. Goalkeepers, I don't think hit their prime until they're like 33, 34.
Well, yeah, goalkeepers' careers tend to. I mean, you know, they tend to play a lot longer. So.
Yeah. If you look at Courtois and all them, Courtois like 30, 31. Oblak.
Yeah.
I still think Oblak's the best goalkeeper in the world. He's 30. So like, and they're playing well, but I still think that they really start like Van der Sar. I think played his best football of his career at United when he was like 37, 38, 39. He played at United until he was 41, 42.
Yeah.
So Tim Howard did the same. Tim Howard was playing unbelievable football.
Yep. And another American, what's his face?
Brad Friedel.
Brad Friedel, yeah. He played until his 40s too.
So Gigi Buffon did as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, there's probably a long list of goalkeepers that played at the top level in their 40s. This is
It's not as It's not like it's a rarity.
No, it's not. So with that being said, though, like it is nice to see that United are trying to. They're not going. They've taken the Ineos group have come in. They've taken a completely different approach. They're instead of going out and trying to find and paying well over the odds of like what United have been doing in the past, like buying players who've already established themselves, like a Casemiro.
I think you could look at like with what's going on with Braithwaite in Everton. I mean, they seem like they're kind of trying to dig their heels in and not overpaid much for him. I don't know what's going to happen with all that. I know Everton has financial issues or whatever, so I'd be curious to see if they end up, capitulating or whatever and giving in or whatever. But, I feel like the United of the past would just write a check and say, all right, let's just bring them in. Let's just overpay for them.
Exactly. Like the Woodwards of the world would have went ahead, or what's his name again, too? Murtaugh's of the world went in there and just would have signed a big fat check. But I do think that Brent White would have been a great player. But at the same time, I agree with you. At what point do United turn around and say, okay, your asking price is a little too ridiculous?
Yeah. And I think now's a good time to probably get into a little bit of the midfield. Obviously, we've brought in a forward and, we've brought in a center back, and, we're talking about bringing in Dalot. We need a defensive midfielder, and obviously Ugarte is, he's agreed personal terms. He wants to be there. It's just a matter of figuring it out. With PSG financial terms, watching him in the Copa America, I didn't watch PSG games regularly outside of, Champions League games. I was really impressed with him in the Copa America. I think he would fit in well with the team.
Oh, no, so would I. He's very mobile, and that was, if you listen back in a couple of podcasts ago, you and I were both saying that the one thing I would love for United to go get is a mobile centre defensive midfielder. If you look at all the top teams in the world that play really good football, that actually are able to that allow their so-called artists, if you will, like the Bruno, if you will, the center type midfielder, to do
need it like an anchor to distribute.
Exactly. Yeah. They're always it's that little cushion that those players that do go forward, it allows them that freedom to go for adventure forward,
like a Mainoo and Bruno, like they're able to go up and do what they do, be creative and attack and try and score goals or whatever,
Yeah. Well, and speaking of that, I think good old Graham Souness had a pop at Mainoo, which I don't 100% disagree with him.
Mm-hmm.
He just said that he's still learning his trade. There's a few times he gets a little naive and he vacates his position, and it leaves gaps in the midfield. And no, if you look at the setup, if anybody wants to, I could easily do a tactical analysis right now of United. The way United set up against City was perfect because of the fact they did play two holding midfielders behind Mainoo and Bruno. Mm-hmm. And that's why Mainoo was able to get his second goal, because he did venture forward. Now,
he didn't have to worry about going back.
Yeah, because that Amrabat and McTominay were sitting right there, just right in front of the back four. Yep. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and agree with my good old fellow dairyman, James McLean, and proving that it is fact that Declan Rice is overrated, because if you're paying £100 million for a player, and then you're criticizing somebody else, Kobie Mainoo, who I thought was one of the best players England had at the tournament, and they're going to turn around and blame Mainoo for vacating his spot. No position and leaving gaps, but that's the whole purpose of Declan Rice. You're supposed to have that player that goes.
What the hell's Declan Rice doing?
Well, that's what I'm saying. And we talk about, I would love Declan Rice at United because he is that mobile. But like you said, Ugarte, I think is going to be a perfect little player that can go in there, be mobile, and be able to just the best player I've ever seen to do this role. Let me rephrase that. Two best players I've seen in my lifetime is Claude Makelele, who was unbelievable at playing that role. And then N'Golo Kanté.
Yeah.
Ironically, both of them are French.
Yes.
And they both know, but those two little fellas were, unbelievable at that role. Like they had that anchor role. Like literally, there's a reason why people called it the Makelele role, because the fact that man mastered it to the point where nobody else could do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're 100% spot on. I mean, for that role, I mean, those two were probably the best to ever do it. I mean, it's incredible. But I mean, I could just imagine a player like Ugarte, and I really think that would change a lot of things for the team. I think letting Mainoo and Bruno roam, not have to worry about that. Just kind of thinking about it gets me excited, man.
Oh no, definitely. Like I said, it's actually nice now that I know.
Well, and the fact that he wants to be here too.
That's what I was about to say, because the last time I got excited over a midfielder coming into United was good old Frankie de Jong.
Yeah.
And United agreed terms with Barca, but they couldn't agree personal terms with Frankie because he didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave Barca. and now it's the reverse role. It seems like United every single time they've agreed personal terms first and then fees later. So
yeah.
Euro, they had to agree personal terms with them first before Nice, because Nice already told them, hey, listen, Real Madrid's right here. We already have a package.
We already got, yeah.
It's up to you guys to convince Euro to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Go join you, because either way, we know he's leaving. We just don't know where he's going. And Real Madrid
he's either going to Madrid or he's going to Manchester.
Exactly. So they got personal terms agreed there, and then the fee after the fact then was done. That is what it is. Same with Ugarte. Same with Zirkzee. They all agreed personal terms ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're doing is they're going in making sure the players. I think they're making sure the players actually want to go there and say, okay. But it's a great way it's a smart strategy, because if you go
I like it.
Well, if you go and think about this, if you go to a team first, right, and you haven't even imagine this, you just imagine someone comes up to you, Keith, and is like, hey, I want you to, do a completely different podcast, for example, just for the sake of it here, and they don't come talk to you first, they go talk to your boss or the company you work for first, and then then they come talk. But then they come talk to you, and it's to the point where, like, well, wait a minute, like, if you really wanted me, you would have wanted to come straight to the source and find out if I'm even
talk to the guy who's doing it every day, you know?
Yeah, if I even want to leave, because it's very, they do business that way. It's very Americanized sports, because you hear those stories all the time where players getting traded here in America and they never want to leave.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah,
which is the thing I hate the most. I love NFL, I love it all, but that is one thing I hate the most, is that you just see a constant revolving door of players getting moved around. Yeah. I mean, I understand it's a business, it is what it is, but I hate it, you know?
Oh, exactly. Oh, like our good old Atlanta United are going through it right now as we speak. They're complete. It's the third or fourth rebuild since 2017 when they brought. So it's like the fourth rebuild in 7 years.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. In 7 years, you had 4 rebuilds.
I know. But no, so I do like the fact that United, the Ineos group, are going on. They put a strategy in place in terms of business wise and how they're doing business with players. They're talking to the players first, find out if they even want to come here. Because I don't know, did you see Zirkzee's salary?
Actually, you're gonna have to call me out. I did not see his salary. What is it?
It's ridiculously low. So everyone was turning around trying to explain, like, wow, what am I? That somebody even said, somebody joked and said, I think the copy machine at Mainoo is broken again, because they were like, there's no way that's correct. And so I was like, wait a minute.
What is it like? What is it like? 100,000, 80,000? What is it?
£56,000 a week.
Oh my God! Wow.
56. That's a
steal.
Yeah, 5 year, 56,000. Now, granted, that could be just his base. He could have a lot more. Bonuses
I would hope so. There's got to be some kind of incentive package in there and different things. I would hope so. I mean, if he didn't, he's got a shitty agent.
Yeah. Or he just really wanted to come to United. But at the same time, but again, like, I don't know. No, that's what they're hearing. That's what the reports are saying. Like, you see all the time. The reports are just. No, numbers get thrown around all the time. Like, I see a report the other day. It said that United signed Anthony for 95 million. I'm like, no,
what?
Numbers get thrown around all the time. So if it is true, that's great. I think 56 is a bit low. I think it wouldn't be surprised if he's probably hitting around 100 after a certain amount of performance bonuses and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that would make. I mean, that would make sense. I mean, a player of his caliber, I would think he would be definitely closer to 100. But I mean, I guess, Ineos protecting themselves, savvy businessmen. I mean, I guess, obviously, I hope he does work out of it. But worst case scenario, I guess at least financially they're okay. No,
exactly. Well, see, but I would love for more of this to happen. I would love to have players, instead of players coming in like Casemiro's and the Rashfords of the world, just come in, they get paid like £300,000, £350,000 a week guaranteed. I would love them to turn around and say, all right, well, how about we start you at 150, and that other 200 comes in based on your performance, or
performance, Champions League bonuses, or Euro, and FA Cup. I mean, I'm sure you could work all kinds of different bonuses in there.
Exactly.
Goals
So I would love
scored, that all kinds of stuff.
Well, I would love to have someone come in and do the analytics, like in terms of like
Oh, like
KPIs.
De Bruyne.
Yeah, so De Bruyne is the best example of that. He literally he doesn't even have an agent. He went out and paid a company, a data analytics company, to use his stats that he did, meaning goal contributions, minutes played, distance covered, all this kind of stuff. And they literally put it down. They put it like a KPI, key performance indicator. And he negotiated his new contract with Man City without an agent, just using that data. And said, I think what he not only did that, he had those numbers crunched against players that play in the same position, that play in the same league, play in the Champions League, and did a comparative analysis of him compared to everyone else, and he surpassed everybody, which is why City were like, oh, okay, he sold us.
Yeah, here we go. Rack up the Brinks truck.
Exactly. So I don't understand why teams don't do the same thing. They have just people like coming in there, running analytics behind the scenes, making sure that players are going, like they're having KPIs, like every week, every month, key performance indicators is going to make sure that they actually do what they're supposed to do. Like Rashford's supposed to go out there and score goals and contribute to the team. I would love him to be able to do that, but like at the same time, last season he seemed not only is he just off the boil, but he didn't seem to really care. And
no, he's in the news again this week. I know it happened last year or whatever, but apparently he lost his driver's license for 6 months.
That's nothing new. Speaking of that's what that Enzo from Chelsea. He after a whole debacle of the chanting, he got pulled over for drunk driving.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. So, those sometimes
Jesus.
Stupid, but
yeah.
But no, we'll see what happens. But yeah, to read that, somebody joking. That's when I read somebody's comment said, I think the United's fax machine's broken again. I think they forgot to put the 1 in front of the 5 there. And it's 156, not 56. But
the notorious fax machine at Man United.
The hair still hates that thing. He still curses that thing every single day.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah. But now, so far so good with the signings coming on. We get in Ugarte. Dalot would be a good squad player to build up the depth as well. And then the only they did say Ugarte's personal terms are agreed, but what I've been reading is that United have been told they need to sell at least 2 players.
Yeah.
Not to stay within terms of FIFA fair play or the FA's fair play rules, but in terms of just squad, I think it just becomes too saturated. And
well, obviously, a player that comes to mind. I hope that they can move him. I know he's out with the team right now, Sancho. Do you think they can get 30 million for him?
I don't know at this point. Like we talked about him in a few podcasts previously. He did play well against PSG, but then he started to disappear at the second leg. He didn't do much in the final. I do think I haven't seen anything. I would love for more information to come out on him and Ten Hag, because Ten Hag did come out and say, "Listen, we've talked, we've drawn the line on it. It's in the past. We're going to move forward." Now, does that mean we're going to move forward, meaning that he's going to stay, or does that mean we're moving forward, meaning I'm going to get him out the first opportunity I get? Or what is he going to be part of it? And his exact words is like, we here at Manchester United, we like to have we like to keep good players, we like to have good players, and Sancho is a good player. Now, good is not great.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Let's be honest here. He's not a great player, but put it this way: if Sancho did what he did to like a Fergie or somebody, he would have been gone already. I don't know. I don't think. I think he could be good, but I haven't seen enough from him. He's too inconsistent. I don't know. I just feel like he would be a distraction.
Well, here's the thing. So...
And I think it sends a message to your players to say, oh, okay, well, this guy can mouth off into the press and call the manager a liar, basically. And a year later, now he's back in the team. So now I'm looking at that as, okay, well, you did this for Sancho. What do I now? I'm just gonna go do the same thing, or I don't know. I just kind of feel it sets a bad precedent.
Yeah. Well, I've thought about it. And I'm thinking that I don't think Sancho's going to be. I do think he probably will get moved on. If not this transfer window, 100% in January.
Yeah.
What I do think is, I think that Ten Hag was instructed by the Ineos group to say, listen, we're going to bring him back, but you're not going to like it. But at the end of the day, they'll just bring him back. I think they're trying to set up a narrative that, everything's kumbaya between Sancho and Trent.
Yeah.
Because why know why? Because if it's not all roses and rainbows between them two, it'll drive down the price if they do try to sell him. Because teams are going to come in saying, "Listen, he's disgruntled. Your manager doesn't like him. Your manager doesn't want them. So why would we pay top dollar for him or top price for him if you don't even want him there?" So they're trying. I think the Ineos group are playing it pretty well, and so is Ten Hag. By saying, "Oh, no, everything's good now. We've drawn a line on the sand." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I think that's just a facade to be able to make sure that people don't get the wrong impression that he still is disgruntled. They don't like one another, and people are going to come in and pay nothing for him, because the last time something like this happened between a manager and a player at United was Ferguson and Beckham, and Real Madrid signed Beckham for nothing. When you think about it, I think he came third. He was in the top 5 Ballon d'Or votes in 1999, 2000. And 3 years later, he was shipped off to Real Madrid for I think it was 24 million.
Which you think about it. I mean, God Almighty. I mean, if that was today, I mean, God, I can only imagine what that transfer fee would be.
Exactly. Just take the Beckham, the fact that he was a great player for United, out of the equation. Just his brand alone, his marketability as a player.
Oh my God, yeah.
So Real Madrid knew that. So. When you think about the fact they paid 40-something million for Zidane, 30-something million for Figo.
God, 24 million. They probably made that up in a year off of jersey sales.
Exactly. So, and I think the reason why they came in for so cheap was because they knew Ferguson and Beckham's relationship was completely destroyed.
It was tattered. Yeah.
So they went in there, and the Real Madrid, being the Real Madrid that we know, they went in there and used the example. So I think that's what's going on here. I think that United are trying to, really paper over the cracks, if you will, with some, kumbaya mindset. But in reality, we'll see what happens. 100%, I agree with you. I don't think a player can come out and not apologize and, end up getting sent off, pretty much sent to timeout. And the timeout was
basically.
And a Champions League final timeout. But at the same time, when it comes to undermining the manager, I think Ineos Group's already done that with the whole interviewing multiple managers when Ten Hag was still a manager at the club. Now it's the point where what stops these players from saying, listen, talking to one another, saying, hey, listen, the big bosses here don't like Ratcliffe and Ashworth and Omar and all the rest of them. They don't like him. Jason Wilcox doesn't like him.
You know what? Well, you know what? That's a good transition to another topic for us. I mean, Ten Hag was recently out in Dutch media earlier this week, and he was basically saying things that we probably had already thought or knew, that was pretty contentious behind the scenes, and there was a lot of basically things. I think a quote I read is basically Ten Hag basically told Ineos, he was like, if you don't want me, just let me go. I'm ready to go, basically. Again, it's probably nothing that's really revealing, stuff we already knew, but I mean, it was definitely very contentious. It wasn't all kumbaya like they were trying to portray it at the time.
No, exactly. Well, you could sort of say after the FA Cup final, Ten Hag did come out and say, when I thought was really disrespectful, the media kept, instead of asking him about his tactics and his philosophy and all, or not philosophy, his tactics and the way he had the team set up to win the FA Cup final, all the questions was like, oh, do you think you're going to be here next season? Do you think you're going to be here? And
they even give him a day, to enjoy the celebration.
They didn't give him an hour, never mind a day. So he even said, one of his answers was, listen, if they don't want me here, fine, I'll go win trophies elsewhere. Which, we talked about it before. That's a great mind. That's a kind of really good mindset to have. You're confident in your ability to be able to do something. So, I think that definitely. I think him saying that I think it may have rubbed the Ineos group a little wrong way, where that's where it got a little confrontational, where they're like saying, "Listen, like, no, we're gonna."
I bet you someone like Sir Jim is probably not used to hearing things like that. You know, think about it. You're a billionaire. You probably hear yes a lot more than you hear no. So I'm sure that probably was in the back of his mind.
No, 100% it was. But the thing is, Ten Hag already knew two things. One, he was under contract, so therefore, if the Ineos group wanted to go ahead and get rid of him, they would still have to pay him the rent of contract.
Yeah, he's still getting a fat paycheck.
Yeah. Two, the team he left to come to Manchester United for just sacked their manager, so he really had.
And they would have taken him back with open arms.
100%. So, and I think he understood that as well. I think he knew that. Listen.
I'm in the driver's seat here, man.
Exactly. I just delivered another trophy here. I've delivered back-to-back trophies and trophy seasons, and you're going to turn around now and say, "Oh, we're going to get rid of you." Go ahead and do it. He goes, "I'm not." He won't. Like you rightly said, he did some pundency work. On TV for the Euros. So he could have done that too. Like you see that all the time. Managers will take a year off to go. Go
on TV, yeah. Clear their brain and whatever, you know?
Exactly. So he wasn't exactly, Ten Hag knew that. I think that he realized, listen, like if you get rid of me, get rid of me. I don't care. I'm at the point where I'm comfortable in my own skin. I'm comfortable with what my decision is going to be. I'm comfortable with what's going to happen with. And I think that's when they finally realized, like, listen, I don't think we're going to have a manager that's going to be able to come in there. One, say for example, they got rid of Ten Hag, like at one stage, I read that same article. It was 50-50. It was touch and go.
Yeah.
It seemed like Ten Hag was very stubborn in his ways, and so he's successful. And the Ineos group, like you rightly said, good old Sir Jim Ratcliffe was probably not used to hearing people talk back to him or give their opinion back. He's probably so used to hearing people say, "Yes, sir, will do, sir, no problem, sir." And Ten Hag wasn't having it, which is a very common theme with the Dutch. The Dutch have they're very
forward and
I'm very proud people too, which that's not a fault.
Which I can respect. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, especially if you're going to be successful. It's one thing to be unsuccessful, not deliver a trophy. But when you're delivering trophies and success, then you have the right to be able to sit there and.
Yeah.
But no, like I do agree with that. But I do think that the Ineos group doing what they did, the whole interview managers may undermine Ten Hag. No, it could be the catalyst that some of these players might down tools again and say, "Hey, listen, if you don't get rid of them, if you don't like them, let's just play like shit." They're going to fire him anyway. They never wanted him here anyway.
Yeah.
So that was a precedent. So with that, and then the whole Sancho thing, that's two things we got to watch closely this season. Like
Well, I mean, I'm glad that we brought him back, but I wonder if Ineos is looking at Southgate and be like, "I'm glad we're not starting." I don't know. I guess they like them so much. I mean, I know we watch him and we're like, you want him to manage Man United? I don't think so.
Yeah, well, from what I've heard, I've read a couple articles that it was Chelsea were the ones leaking all the stories that United were like going after Southgate and United were interviewing all these managers, and
I've heard that too.
And I think I wouldn't surprise me either if Newcastle were involved in it, because of the fact
that wouldn't surprise me because of all the because of what's his face,
Dan Ashworth.
Yeah, Ashworth. Yeah.
Yeah, because they put him in gardening leave, and obviously his connection with Southgate when they both worked at the FA. And I think that they may have some of these teams. Like I think some people underestimate. Like I would love if somebody was to create a fictional story. Imagine something like a fictional story of like just owners of like teams and just how all like I'm sort of going off a little bit here, but like with The Rock did the Ballers.
Yeah.
Imagine if we had something similar to that. Imagine HBO picked something up and did something similar with the Premiership, and you get to really see the ins and outs of it.
You know what? That would actually be kind of cool if there was like a Hard Knocks for the Premiership where they went around a different team every year. Actually, that would be kind of cool.
That wouldn't be a bad idea because you heard. So CBS just signed a massive deal with the FA. So the CBS now is the official here in the States. The official carrier of the EFL. So you can see all the Championship, League 1, League 2 matches now in the United States through I think through CBS Sports and Paramount Plus. So that's a big
Yeah,
thing.
they've really invested a lot in it here. I mean, because they do
You know
all
why?
the Serie A and Serie B games and all that too. So yeah, they're definitely forking out the cash.
Man, there's a complete reason why. It's because the fact that Wrexham now are up there. Wrexham got promoted again, so
Yes.
therefore everyone FX
Uh-huh.
did the whole like welcome to Wrexham. There a lot of people are
Oh
trying to
yeah,
strike.
yeah.
They're trying to strike while iron's hot
They're
because they
trying
know
to, yeah, exactly, because they know that people are going to tune in, and
exactly.
even if you know nothing about watching this sport, you're just going to tune in. You're going to hear, oh, that's Ryan Reynolds and whatever the hell the other guy's name, whatever the
McElroy.
hell, Rob Mac,
McElroy.
yeah. Let's just watch it just because.
Yeah, no, and that's what's going to happen. So I wouldn't be surprised if CBS probably partner up with those two to do commercials for the to promote.
Yeah.
So, like you said, it wouldn't be a bad idea to be able to. That's something that some of these teams could go into. But some of the teams are already doing it. Like Amazon got in with Man City.
Yeah.
I think didn't was it Netflix that won with Liverpool or something?
Yes, they did do something. I can't remember if it was Liverpool or somebody else. Can't remember.
So it's going to be if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be a streaming service. It's going to do it because they have a broader audience because the fact that Netflix aren't strictly on TV rights, whereas all these other channels.
Well, and Netflix has done a really good job with some of the other soccer documentaries, like the Luis Figo one, and they had a Beckham, they had a Karim Benzema one. So
Messi.
Messi. They've all done a bunch of different ones, so it's not like it's foreign territory for Netflix.
Exactly. So, and then Amazon did the they didn't do
99,
the 99 one. So
yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if some of these, just how big and how global now, like this everything's getting, and how easy accessible it is. Like you can get it on any single device. I wouldn't be surprised now in the next few years that some of these streaming services are going to probably buy the rights to show sports, and you're going to pay like high subscription payments. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Imagine Netflix. You have like Netflix.
Well, yeah, Netflix is talking about getting into streaming live sports. Who is it? The Jake Paul and the Mike Tyson fight I thought was supposed to be on Netflix, right?
Possibly.
I could have swore they had a live sporting event that they were going to do. I don't know. I'll have to. This is where we could use like a Jamie on the Joe Rogan show. Hey Jamie, Google it.
Exactly. But we'll see what happens with that. But that's two little like earmarks I would like to keep an eye on this season. Is just the Sancho situation. Does he play? It'd be interesting to see if he's back at the club now. He didn't play at all against Rosenborg.
Mm-hmm.
Sancho didn't. So we'll see tomorrow.
I don't really think they played many of the first teamers. Is what I mean.
Like Johnny Evans looked 37. Casemiro looked like he was running in sand. Not Hoyland. What's his name again? Armand Bissaka.
Yeah.
It was rough. But we'll just see what happens tomorrow. But we'll be very interested to see who actually plays, who doesn't play over the next few weeks. If Sancho gets a run out, then is that putting him in on the shopping window, or if they don't play him out, does that mean that Ten Hag didn't draw the line and not everything's not behind him? So for a fact the one thing about United that is they're hated, adored, but never ignored. So they're going to see a lot of articles regardless of what happens.
Of course, absolutely,
100%. Yeah. So like, and one of the things I'm glad that, and we talked about this before, and this is sort of just in the dip with the whole Sancho, is he going to leave, is he going to stay? Is I'm glad that the whole Greenwood thing now is officially 100% now. In the past.
I'm so glad we don't have to worry about and talk about him. I'm so glad that chapter is over.
Well, another good thing that Ineos did was, and we talked about it before, was that they renewed it. Everyone was like, why are they renewing Greenwood's contract? They renewed it there just a few months ago, and everybody knew who knew football that we've seen this before. They only renewed his contract because his contract was going to be up, and they knew if they didn't renew it, he was going to leave for free. So they'd rather renew his talent. So they negotiated a non-buyback clause, which is what they did with good old, which I was a little upset about the fact that Kambwala left Villarreal. They put a buyback clause on there. There's no buyback clause for Greenwood, but there is a 50% sell-on clause. So if he leaves Marseille, say for 50 million, Say he goes to 50
Yeah,
million.
yeah.
United get 25 million from that. So technically,
Hey.
then they would have sold Greenwood for 55.
Yeah, which is, I'm totally fine with that. Honestly, I didn't even really care much. I mean, of course, you never want to, lose out on that. But, with everything that happened, I honestly, I think it was just best for everyone to just be done with it.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
and cut your losses,
Yeah. Well, you still got a career. I think you'll do really well in France. So best luck to him. But
yeah.
I just don't want to wear a United jersey.
Yeah. You're not the only one. Well, I guess if you go online, there was a lot of people that did want him back, which is kind of crazy, but is what it is. Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's entitled to opinion, so it is what it is. I'm not gonna. No.
Yep. All right. So one of the last things we can talk about or want to get on, obviously we got another Dutchman back in the building. Favorite of mine, pretty sure a favorite of yours.
Yep.
Ruud van Nistelrooy back in the house. I'm excited about this, man. I think he's going to be a great addition to the team. I think you look at some of the other things he's done. Helping out other teams. Yeah, man. I think he can be a big presence in that locker room.
Oh man, 100%. Like, I think he not only is going to be a huge presence, but just the fact that it's always great. They brought him back in a sense that they didn't just bring him back because he's a former player.
No, they brought him back because he knows what the hell he's doing.
Exactly. So he was at PSV for a while. He took over PSV, which I read an article today, which I got a little excited about. But it's like a catch-22 for me.
Yeah.
One of the players that he managed at PSV was Jamie Simon. The player, the fella scored the goal against England in the semi-final for Holland. The young player. He actually played in the Foil Cup.
Wow.
Yeah, he played in the Foil
Cup.
He played in the Foil Cup for Barcelona way back, when he was young, like 10 years ago, maybe even 12 years ago. He was captain of the Barcelona team there. So that's that's cool to be able to see that. But yeah, supposedly United now are in talks to hijack the deal, because supposedly Xavi Simon is supposed to be going to Bayern Munich. He's actually he left Barca, went to PSG, and left PSG and went to PSV.
Yep.
And then they re-signed him because they had a buyback clause, and then sent immediate loan at Red Bull Leipzig, and then he's now back at PSG, but now Bayern Munich want him. Vincent Kompany wants him over at Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
And so we'll see what happens. But from what I heard now is that supposedly he loved Van Nistelrooy when Van Nistelrooy managed him at PSV. Xavi Simons did, and he's very interested in coming to United. So another player that they said that they're going to try to do personal terms first, and then negotiate. And I think
I'm all for it. It's somebody that wants to be at the club.
Yeah, but yeah, with Van Nistelrooy, I'm really excited for him to be back. Like, did he leave the club? No. In the same sense of, like, say, Jaap Stam did. He did, but at the same time, like, the man was a goal-scoring machine.
Yeah.
But him being back, I was a little bummed when I heard that Benny McCarthy wasn't getting his contract renewed, but then I can see now why. When you have somebody like Ruud van Nistelrooy, who's actually went out and managed a top team like PSV, and he has his credentials there.
Yeah.
That they have to bring him back on. I'm hoping he can pull Rashford aside. Put some
and talk some sense into him and get him back on the because both of us agree. I mean, we think he has a talent. He's shown flashes in the pan. It's just the consistency.
Yeah. So it'll be great. I think the Van Nistelrooy, not only will he have the respect of the players because he sat in their shoes and sat in their
decks. He's been in their situation. He's played for the biggest of the biggest clubs, managed some of the biggest clubs. So yeah, he's got that credibility, man.
Exactly. So great. Bring him in. Maybe Ten Hag brought him in to be a good cop, bad cop. Let Ten Hag be the bad cop. Let Van Nistelrooy be the good cop. Like former player, former United player, international player. Like.
Yep.
A lot of good accolades, and like he can talk to the likes of Sancho, he can talk to the likes of Rashford, he can help Højlund become more of a predator in the box, and get him working, because that was one thing that Van Nistelrooy was unbelievable. He was a fox in the box. He just anything in there, he was putting. I think he scored only one goal. I could be wrong, but I remember hearing this stat that Van Nistelrooy only scored one goal outside the 18-yard box for Manchester United. Almost every one of his goals was inside the box.
I mean, honestly, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but I mean, I would have to imagine they at least had to get it at least once or twice. I mean, I would think, but it would surprise me.
I remember hearing that when I was younger, thinking like, "Geez, that's an unbelievable stat." But it's just because he was a forward. Like he's just like one of those players that he just
he just was in the right place always.
Yeah, like a Alan Shearer type, Harry Kane type, like this. Those fellas just know how to find the back of that. But no, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for him. And then they just recently changed goalkeeper coaches too. The goalkeeper there was there for 23 years.
Yeah.
He's moved on. It used to be Luke Steele. He succeeded Luke Steele when Luke Steele moved on. He worked with Luke Steele. But another Dutch coach came on for the goalkeepers at United as well. Speaking of goalkeepers, I had to give a massive shout out that Vitek against Rosenborg.
Oh.
My God, he's a big man too. And I'm a big man, like I'm a goalkeeper as well. Like seeing another big fella just
out there doing his thing.
You had to see some of those saves, man. Look it up. If anyone who hasn't seen the Rosenborg match, go back and watch the highlights. That man.
I know. I haven't seen it. I'm gonna have to go and watch the highlights.
He's the only reason it wasn't 6-0. And that's not even an exaggeration. That man was unbelievable. And his distribution from the feet commanded his box. The only reason he scored in the 92nd minute to win 1-0, it was a sort of a bunch of the youngsters around there, a bunch of the under 18s all just bounced around the box, fell to the floor, and he blasted on. But no, it'd be good to see some of the good coaching, some of the new coaching staff. Let's see, does that the new coaching staff correlate to a great start to the season? Maybe
we'll see. We'll find out. Well, we'll find out in about a month. I'm excited to have him back. Another prediction I wanted to circle back on with you. We've talked about this for the last couple of weeks via WhatsApp, and I think it's become pretty apparent, especially how he's carried himself in the Euros and being one of the better teams for England. You think Kobie Mainoo is a future captain of United?
100%. I think whenever Bruno leaves, I think Mainoo will easily be the next United captain. I think I watched him in England the Euros, and he was barking at people. Not barking.
I remember there was a video going around where he was barking at Kyle Walker to put him in I was like, he's 18 years old and he's telling Kyle Walker where to fucking stand on a free kick.
And then Alan Shearer talked about that specific video you're talking about, but I've seen in other videos too. But Alan Shearer said, he goes, that's the kind of mentality that England need. They need a player that he's 18, 19 years old. Like, he joked and said that some of these players, never mind playing this international stage, they're right past their bedtime kind of thing. Because it proves the whole mantra of United, that if you're good enough, you're old enough mindset. But just how mature he is off the pitch and how mature he is on the ball on the pitch. The way, like you rightly said, the way he carries himself.
I think he says the right things with the media too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He carries himself great on the pitch and off the pitch. He's doing the right talking on the pitch in terms of like performances. He definitely, he's United through and through. Came through the academy, and it's just, he's one of those kind of players I would love to see be the next United captain. Now, is it going to happen? I don't know. But right now, I think it's a little too early to make him captain. But at the same time, Ten Hag did make Matthias de Ligt the captain of Ajax at 19. So but I think that's a whole different ballgame. But we'll see. I have him earmarked as the next United captain. Me personally, I think he's a player too that United can build around. And like when you think of a captain, you think of somebody that is going to be the first name on the sheet. And everybody, all the ABUs, anyone but United mindset is like, he's overrated, he's shite, he's this and that. That's all right. Like I think that about a lot of other players. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold is probably one of the overrated fucking footballers in the world. But if I said the Scouser, they'll probably try to.
Oh my God! I was laughing at some of the comments on X and Facebook. Why is he not starting? I was like, do you watch him play? Oh my God!
Yeah. Now Wayne Rooney has his faults in terms of being a manager. He's been sacked or whatever. But Wayne Rooney before the Euros even started saying that and it went viral. He did a little video saying, I would not have Trent Alexander-Arnold anywhere near the defense or midfield because he can't defend.
No.
So
well, hey, and honestly, every time he was substituted and came off, I mean, they carried him through to the next round. I Joe's like, what if Southgate was a cat? Is he on his ninth life? I mean, Jesus. I mean, you look at him and it's just like you have no business being in that team, man.
No. So I've seen the whole thing. People saying, well, he's won everything. He's won every single thing for his club. And I'm like, so's Jonathan Green. So's Jens Lundqvist. So's Henrik Berg. Although every player played for the 99 team. Like, so David May has won everything. So by that premise, that means David May's up there too with some of the elite players now. So, not saying David May's a bad player. He was a great player for United. No, good squad player.
Oh, yeah.
But he wasn't a starter for United. But at the same time, like, no. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't want to even give the Scousers that much opportunity and too much fucking time on this podcast. But I do think Kobie Mainoo, I would give it about 2 or 3 years, 22, 23. I think he'd be an egg captain because I think by then Bruno's going to probably move on.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, but Bruno's still there. He'll be there for 7 more years, and he can watch him. And what I think it would be interesting to see over the years if if Bruno's getting substituted or whatever, if the armband gets tossed to him or whatever. I don't know. I guess something to look out for.
Yeah, I would say that Kobie Mainoo's definitely one, and another player that I think could easily be an United captain, and he was Player of the Year this year, was Diogo Dalot. I think he plays with passion. He's very consistent.
Yep. And I thought he played well for Portugal in the Euros too. So.
Another player that played out of position because of John Cancelo. So he's another player, but Mainoo, I think Mainoo's going to be great this year. Another player we can build a team around, but he should be one of the first names on the sheet for United.
100%. Couldn't agree more. All right, D. Well, we're over an hour in. I think that's a good place to wrap up. It's good to get back one in the saddle. I know it's been a month, and again, summer months, so we're not as regular as we should be, but once we get into the season, we'll definitely have one out once a week. D, give your social a plug before we sign off.
It's dc.mcguigan. I'll get on Instagram.
And you can follow me at KeithHip86 on Instagram. And again, thanks for listening to the Biggie and Smalls podcast. We will talk to you next week.